on the Kansas City Chiefs. What's his name?
That dude.
Harrison Butker.
I'd like to
butt kick him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to punt him out of this country.
Yeah. Well, I can't. I'm too busy in the kitchen.
Off the planet. Oh, yeah. Well, that's your place.
That's my place.
Yeah.
Did you read that his mother she's a physicist?
What?
Yeah. And this fool is up there saying this nonsense.
Has she responded at all?
I don't think so. But now there's a petition from people that has been sent to the chief saying, get this guy off.
Well, what's his...
Wow. So sorry.
I bet he's signing it too.
Hello, and welcome to Once More, a podcast where two best pals rewatch, re-examine, and review our favorite movies, shows, and series. I'm Jen Katz.
And I'm Ryan Something.
Hello, Ryan Something.
Hello, Jen Katz.
How are you today?
K-A-T-Z.
I think I'm just going to change it to C-A-T-S.
That's kind of cute.
Jen Katz. Yep.
I'm well. How are you?
I'm well. I'm so excited to talk about this episode for the very first time.
We're back.
We're back again. Yes.
Season 2 of Once More, a rewatch podcast.
Yes, season 2.
We are still on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
Season 2, episode 1. Season 2, episode 1.
Yeah. And we're in a new studio space, as you may have noticed.
Yes.
New equipment.
Love those headphones on you.
Love that microphone.
Thank you.
Sure is the best.
Sure is.
Ding. And we are also on YouTube.
Yes.
Please follow us at Once More Podcast. We've got a couple videos up already.
Welcome, YouTubers.
Yes, welcome. We've got our Once More Unhinged, which is our sister podcast, extra podcast. What do you call it?
I like it.
Yeah.
It's our side piece.
It's our side piece podcast. Yes. So we, in addition to our weekly rewatches, we're doing Once More Unhinged, which is, a little unstructured, little unscripted.
Yes.
Unhinged.
Unhinged. We'll be talking about things that are not deep dives into Buffy or anything else that we might be covering in subsequent years.
Yeah.
But it'll be things that we are watching outside of this rewatch podcast, things that we might be listening to, reading, recipes. And it'll be a much shorter program that'll be on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So check us out and tune in.
Yeah. We've got our first episode is up where we get completely unhinged about Blood of Zeus.
Blood of Zeus.
Yes. Season 2 on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, run, don't walk. It's an amazing show.
It is fantastically written, excellently animated, and we'd love to have you join us in our dive into Blood of Zeus on Unhinged. That episode is up.
All right. So, Ryan?
Yes.
Back again. Let's get into it.
So, today, everyone, and Jenny, we will be discussing When She Was Bad.
Down bad. Crying at the gym. Everything comes up. Teenage petulance.
Great reference.
I am, I'm a pop culture connoisseur.
You are, as am I.
Yeah.
And our friend M.
Hello, M.
When She Was Bad is the first episode of season 2 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The episode premiered on the WB on September 15th, 1997. And it was written and directed by Joss Whedon.
Okay, so Joss Whedon. We have touched on Joss in season 1, which if you have not listened to season 1 of Once More Rewatch Podcast, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, wherever you can find your podcast, we're there. Go listen and catch up. He has been accused of really gross things. And it's hard sometimes, and we have had this conversation in our real life about separating the art from the artist, because I love this episode. But there are parts of it that make me uncomfortable knowing that it was written and directed by Joss Whedon.
Yeah. Which we'll get into when we get to those moments.
We will. And I wonder if we need to have maybe a bonus episode where we really go into the accusations against Joss, maybe this conversation about separating the art from the artist. We might need to deep dive because we reference it a lot, but for people listening or may not be, in the know about it, it's very uncomfortable knowing what was going on behind the scenes of this show. That's so great. And he's a great writer. There are lines in this episode that made me laugh out loud.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that. We won't give him too much space for his alleged.
I'd say he's a good storyteller.
He's a good storyteller. Yeah.
So what's the synopsis of this episode?
Google says Xander and Willow worry about Buffy's behavior. Cordelia and Miss Calendar are kidnapped, and Buffy turns Angel away. Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Those are things that happen in this episode. But what?
I've got a better synopsis.
What you got?
New hair, new outfits, and new attitudes.
I'm in. Like, fuck Google.
Yeah, I don't know what Google was thinking. Sometimes.
Can we task you with doing synopses? What's the plural of synopsis?
Synopsi?
Synopsi?
I don't know.
It's weird that I know the plural of cyclops, but not what synopsis is. So anyway. Synopsises. I think you should write the synopsis for each episode going forward. Make it a little snappy.
Okay.
I'm putting it out there. This is a call out.
Great.
Everyone, hold them to it.
Send you an invoice.
Okay. So we start the episode with a previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Buffy moved to Sunnydale. There's vampires. There's Angel. They smooch. Oh, shit. Angel's a vampire. They have the master.
Is he?
Listen.
Get out.
Let me tell you. Shooketh at that reveal. There's the master, who's a scary old vampire. Then there's the Anointed One, who's an annoying little kid. Buffy dies. Oh, wait, no, she's brought back to life. She kills the master. She has a beautiful dress. They go to prom. Season 1's over.
Yeah.
That's it.
Friends are made. Teams are formed.
Smooches were smooched.
Yes, they were.
Buffy and Angel. Okay. So we begin.
Jenny and Giles.
I wish.
Not you.
Oh,
Jenny Calendar.
Rude. They didn't smooch in season 1.
They did in my mind.
In your fanfic, have you written any of that yet?
I did more than smooching in my fanfic.
Wow. Okay, so speaking of smooching, here we go. We begin this episode in the graveyard.
We do.
In one of the many, many Sunnydale cemeteries.
There's only one.
There's Restfield. There's
Vampfield.
Demonfield. There's, Sunnydale Havens, Sunnydale Acres. They're all over the place in this town because so many people are dying.
I think there's one cemetery. There could be more than one cemetery, but I don't think that there's 8 of them. This is a town, as you have pointed out, with an international airport.
Yes.
But only one Starbucks.
One Starbucks. There's not a lot of town here, is what Cordelia
says. Only one place to hang out for young adults and adults.
And adults, yeah.
So I don't think that there's more than one, perhaps 2 or 3 cemeteries. But
we need to see the infrastructure. We need to see the bureaucracy of Sunnydale.
We want a map.
First of all, but
Sunnydale.
What's your tax rate? Like, where are your tax dollars going in this
Who's
town?
paying them?
The repairs to the school alone are enough to bankrupt folks.
Can you imagine being a taxpayer in Sunnydale?
No, okay. So we begin in the graveyard. Willow and Xander are walking along. They have ice cream. They're playing the classic game. Guess which movie this line is from.
Mm-hmm.
And Joss Whedon is really giving the nerd fans what they want here because they're referencing Planet of the Apes, Terminator, Star Wars, and they're having a little bit of a banter back and forth. Yeah. And Xander has a new haircut.
He does. It's terrible. There's 2 inches missing behind his ears. I don't know what's going on.
I didn't notice that, but when you pointed it out, I can't unsee it. And Willow also has a little haircut. Her hair went from probably like boob length, and now it's up to here. I don't know what
is that a proper measurement?
Yeah, when I go to my hairstylist, I'm like, hey, I want boob length extensions. No, I didn't. Which I did. I got a new haircut yesterday.
Looks great.
Thank you. I mean, I just cut like an inch off, but
new hair, new outfits, new attitude.
Speaking of outfits, what color is Willow wearing?
Green.
That is something I didn't notice.
Make note.
Whole episode, watch it with this guy. He's like, why is everybody wearing green? What do you mean? Literally in every scene, someone has green on. I don't understand it.
Green. I love it.
Green. Okay. So Willow and Xander having their little tete-a-tete.
This is very date-like.
1,000%.
This is totally a date.
It seems like these two are on a date. If you didn't know Willow and Xander, you'd be like, look at this cute couple.
Cute couple.
Walking through the cemetery with ice cream.
Calling it. They're on a date in the cemetery.
Well, they're talking about how the summer's been slow. There's been no monsters. Okay, we're setting up what Sunnydale has been like since we last saw everybody. And Buffy hasn't been there. She's been in LA with her dad. She has not reached out to Willow and Xander. No one has heard from her. And Xander states that he's over her. He's so over her.
Sure. Not buying it.
No. And they're sitting on, Willow kind of props up on this cute little stone wall in the cemetery, which never seen that before. And Xander puts his ice cream on her nose, and it's very like, oh, Xander. And he quotes a line from Witness about her being Amish. And
Harrison Ford.
Hot. Okay.
Licks old Willow's nose,
And
which
then,
she seems to enjoy because they start moving in for a smooch.
they do the movie TV thing where they're hovering.
Like, lips are getting this close. It's happening.
I have never done that. I feel like you always just kiss. There's none of this like, let's
madam.
hover. It's like, just got to the point. That's what I'm saying.
Sometimes you got to take your time. There's something to be said about anticipation.
For sure. But I'm just saying, like, if someone's right here, I'm not going to like hover my lips over theirs for like 2 seconds. Because guess what happens? A fucking vampire's right next to you and you don't even get to kiss anyway.
And that's what happens.
Yeah. So it's literally like they're right here and the vampire's like up
out of the shot. And all of a sudden it's like in the shot. And you're like, whoa, we're back.
And Xander gets in a lick. He backhands the vampire, but very quickly gets, put
Xander's like back at it.
He looks pretty buff. Like he looks, strong. But the vampire gets the upper hand.
Of course.
But, no need to panic or worry.
Why?
Buffy's back. And she's got a new haircut as well. She looks great.
And a new attitude.
Oh, she's not here to play.
No.
She punches the vampire, gives the guys a hair flip and says, hey, guys.
Hey.
Miss me? And stakes the vampire on.
Gives him a high yaw kick
she does.
Into a tree.
This is the stupidest part of this
episode
episode
branch
for me.
That dusts them.
But it's a palm tree. And are those even branches?
I don't know.
It's like the bark of the palm tree. It 1,000% is a palm tree.
I want to see a picture of this tree. Okay, let's see. That is not a palm tree.
That is a palm
That
tree.
is totally not.
That is a palm tree.
No, ma'am. That is like a Monterey oak or some sort.
No,
palm trees have like multiple like.
That looked like a palm tree to me. Anyway, that was a lame way to stake a vampire.
That I say is true. I will concur with your assessment, but that's not a palm tree.
Arborists out there, right in. Okay.
Anyway.
So we got to the credits. Yeah. We've got new scenes in the credit montage.
We do.
It's exciting stuff. And then we go back to the graveyard. Okay, so they're hugging it out, and Xander goes in for 2 hugs because
he's Xander.
He's Xander.
I'm sick. I need help.
I think we're going to be clicking that button a lot this episode.
This entire
podcast is just going to be
this series.
Xander is, and it's look. On paper, sure, you see your friend after a while, you go in for 2 hugs. That's not what's happening.
But
here.
we know. That's what makes it a little bit different.
Exactly.
I mean, we're all a little sick and need help.
Yeah. Okay. I can't argue with that. So they emphasize again in this scene when the 3 of them are chatting that it's been a slow summer. Mm-hmm. Buffy has done no slaying in Los Angeles. She says she partied and shopped. She was in LA with her dad the whole time. She calls Xander and Willow losers when she's like, I think they say, how'd you know we were here?
Yeah.
She said, I figured you losers would be up into trouble or something. And you're like, okay, she's ribbing them, but it felt weird.
She's been gone for the summer. It's a little awkward. Coming back. Yeah.
But
maybe
it's
not.
A little, it kind of starts to fire your brain of what's going on here. Yeah. And Buffy asked them if they had a good summer, if it was fun. And Willow says, yes. And Xander goes, no, it was yawn worthy. And I'm like, ugh.
You were just on a date with Willow.
Licking ice cream off her nose
and going in for a smooch, hovering in for like a intimate smooch.
Yeah.
But your summer wasn't very exciting after Buffy's back.
But he's over her.
Yeah. And he's over her. My left foot.
So they do tell Buffy one thing they did this summer was they buried the master's bones. They point out the tree. Like, y'all picked a great gravesite for this fool. Like, it's under a beautiful tree. They did a ritual and they got to wear robes.
They did.
Yeah.
It's very Eyes Wide Shut.
That should be on the list to cover.
We'll get to it.
That movie's insane.
We've got stuff to say.
We do. And now we cut to Buffy's room. Joyce is unpacking Buffy's suitcase, but she's not alone. Mm-mm. Who is helping Joyce unpack the suitcase?
Hank
Summers.
Panky Summers.
Listen, I like the two of them together right now. You could see where the connection was at some point. They're talking about Buffy's summer with Hank in LA, and Hank mentions that Buffy was very distant. She wasn't broody or rude, but she was distant. And Joyce is like, well, is that why you bought her all these clothes?
Yeah.
He was like, kind of, he's trying to connect with her. Some of those shoes, I got questions.
Red flag.
Well, again, let's get into our therapy podcast, but we're both children of divorce. And my dad definitely did this. He would take my sister and I shopping and just buy us all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Because he had to be the fun parent.
Right.
He didn't have to do the day-to-day grind of parenting.
Or didn't know how to connect on an emotional level. So it's like, hey, let's take you shopping. Yeah, my dad would do the same. He'd like fly into town, wine and dine us.
We're getting wine? I didn't even get wine.
We didn't get wine. And it was like, hey, he's a good parent. Meanwhile, my mom's like, okay, so you're going to leave me to do all the hard, like emotional heavy lifting. Like,
so I think that's probably what's going on here a little bit. But they seem like they're at least
They seem like they're on good terms.
Yes.
But unpacking one's bag with your ex does not a good co-parent make.
Would your parents have unpacked your suitcase when you were that age?
Absolutely not.
Hank says, at least when she was burning stuff down, I knew what to say.
Yeah.
Parents, man, in that time period, like if you did something tangibly wrong, like burn down a gym, they could punish you. They know how to talk about it. But when you're just distant and not communicating. So Sunnydale High School, we're back first day of school, and they've got some great stock music.
Oh yeah, it's do do
do do do do do. Except it's not. It's like the Vanilla Ice thing where it's like ding 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 ding. Like
I love when you do this. Okay, now do the other one.
Ding 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 ding.
Didn't he actually do that?
Yeah, he did on an interview.
Yeah, I love that.
He's talking about Under Pressure and how Ice Ice Baby is not the same as Under Pressure.
Get out of here.
Absolutely is.
Like, we know.
And that's what this is. It sounds just like Semi-Charmed Kind of Life. And we cut to our girl, Cordelia Chase.
She's back.
She's back. She's looking like a queen bee.
Back in action. And she's got her two minions with her.
Where's Harmony?
I don't know.
I want Harmony. I don't know who these yahoos are. I want Harmony.
I love Harmony.
I do too. But Cordelia is like, we're supposed to go to St. Croix for the summer, but my parents decided last minute to send me to take us to Tuscany.
Oh.
I didn't see one beach.
Woe is you.
I know. No one has suffered like I've suffered. Then I thought about how suffering builds character, but I already have so much character. Is it possible to have too much character?
Yes,
I love
for
Cordelia.
Her, yes, but also no.
Also,
we love her.
I would love to go to Tuscany for the summer, please and thank you.
Or St. Croix.
Mr. and Mrs. Chase, please take me.
If anyone's offering, we're in.
We're in. Yep. Okay. So we then cut from Cordelia and her minions to Rupert motherfucking Giles.
Your boy's back.
My boy is back in town and I love him. And Principal Snyder, who is just
going on
and on
about the kids at Sunnydale High School and teenagers these days, and they've got no respect.
No, and he's like what does he say? They're locusts. They're like mindlessly focused on feeding and mating and destroying everything in sight, which is interesting because you literally had a praying mantis lady as a teacher last season who was doing those very things.
Not far off, but it wasn't the students.
Yeah. And Giles asked if Snyder considered that this is not his chosen profession.
Yeah, which...
Will we see? Will we find out?
I'm going to go ahead and call it. It's probably not.
I think you could be right.
Yeah.
And then Snyder just keeps talking. He basically says, teenagers are a bunch of hormonal time bombs, and every time a boy sees a pretty girl, the boy turns into a gibbering fool.
And at that moment, the boy that he's talking to, Mr. Rupert Giles, is distracted and focused on a girl walking up. And who is it?
Jennifer Calendar's here. Jenny Calendar. Jenny C.
Jenny C is back.
New haircut. This is the one I don't like.
Yeah.
This is the worst haircut in the show. Sorry, not the show, in this episode. This is not a spoiler. Buffy season 3 baby bangs. Horrifying.
Really?
Oh my God.
I don't remember this.
You probably blocked it out. You probably your trauma response was, I'm going to pretend this doesn't exist.
I block a lot of stuff out.
Oh, Trauma Cast with Brian and Jen. Ding. So Giles and Jenny leave Snyder in the dust, and he's still going on and on about the kids these days.
Oh yeah, Rupert drops Schneider
gotta go
like a brick and turns around and starts walking off with Jenny.
And they're talking about their summer, and Jenny has had quite the summer.
She's such a techno pagan.
She is such a techno pagan. She said she went to Burning Man. What a reference, because that is such a trendy
1997.
thing. Yeah.
Like,
can you imagine?
Ground floor. It got to be. I don't know how long's Burning Man been going on.
Okay. When was the first Burning Man? What did production come up with?
Okay. According to Wikipedia, Burning Man has been taking place since 1986.
Okay. So this would have been
10 years in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Burning Man before cell phones?
Probably better than it is today.
I would. Yeah. I'm not a big music festival person. Like Burning Man sounds like something I'd never want to do. She says she did naked mud dancing.
Jenny C.
Saucy Minx.
And Giles seems very interested.
He's naked mud dancing. And she says he would hate it with a fiery passion. And she claims that he probably spent his whole summer with his nose in a book, which sounds lovely.
And he did.
He did. He says, I'm sure you find that frightfully boring. And what does she say?
She's like, depends on the book.
And she really is.
Rupert.
Giving him the old.
She's giving him the. I mean, come on. How much more suggestive can she be?
Listen, she is slinking around.
It's not where I dangle it. Depends on the book.
Naked mud dances.
She's making it quite clear that she's interested. He knows.
Yeah.
And he's interested. And she knows that he's interested.
But they're still dancing around it a little bit.
I love this little.
I love their
dance that they have. It's
so cute. And then they get interrupted, though, because the Scoobies show up. Willow, Xander, and Buffy. And Xander does the classic, what's up, G-Man? I hate it. Giles hates it too. Says, please don't call me that again. And he looks at Buffy, Giles does, with such tenderness and asks, well, how are you? Because remember, she hasn't been in contact with anybody all summer. And she says, alive and kicking. Because remember, she died last season.
I see what you did there, Buffy.
Yeah. What did Willow say when she died? Did she go, wow, harsh? Like, what does she say?
That episode was just so strange. Like, everyone's like, oh, you died. And Willow's like, sucks to be you. I'm like, what the fuck? You're her best friend.
So weird.
You're her best friend.
But
again, is that really how you're going to respond?
Nobody was talking about trauma or PTSD. And like, we're going to see Buffy is absolutely suffering from PTSD in this episode. Issues. And Willow announces in front of God and everybody, Buffy slayed one vampire last night.
I love this.
And then they all start talking about, okay, what does this mean?
Yeah, Jenny's is like, so the Hellmouth is closed, right? So there shouldn't be any paranormal activity.
Right.
I'm like, well, we don't know. We saw a vampire last night. And I think Giles asked the question of, what do you think? Or something along those lines.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the...
Oh, yeah. He basically says, Buffy, what do you think? Like, we should do some research in.
And she says, you're the Watcher. I just work here.
She's a little detached.
Just like completely flips it around in a bit of a snarky way. And
it's very snarky.
Giles is like, I'll consult my book.
Xander tells Willow, okay, pay up, because they had a bet on how long it would take Giles to say that he had to consult his books. That's funny.
Yeah.
Joss Whedon really knows these characters.
Timing.
Yes. And the acting is great. Yes. And for all Nicholas Brendan allegedly is.
Perhaps that was off the cuff too. Who knows?
No, Joss Whedon ran a very tight ship. There was no ad-libbing. No. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But
I'll consult my book.
Oh, yeah. Please consult. Oh, yes. This is In Every Generation, a Slayer is Born, How Buffy Staked Our Hearts by Evan Ross Katz. No relation, unfortunately.
We love you, Evan.
We do.
We follow you.
Would love to have you on the pod.
Would love to have you on the pod to talk about Buffy.
Yes.
And all sorts of other pop culture references.
He also says, as they're kind of dispersing, as they're dispersing, Giles says to Buffy, I'd love to resume your training whenever you're feeling ready. And she says, I'm ready. Yeah. And he says, well, you can take the day. Basically, it's the first day back. She goes, nope, I'm ready. We cut immediately to the library for a training montage.
Buffy means business.
She's kicking. She's flipping. She's got that stick thing and she's beating Giles with it. Huh.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Suck fast. And she's got one of those wooden practice dummies that's got different arms and
it's like a martial arts training tool.
Right. And she destroys it.
Absolutely. He's like, okay, that's enough, or
that's
you
enough.
Can ease up a little bit. And she is not even hearing him.
No.
She is so focused on whatever's in her mind that she destroys this thing.
Absolutely. And
just obliterates it. And Giles is like,
We're all kind of saying,
Okay, so she's kind of lashed out a little bit, or well, I guess not really lashed out, but she was snarky in the cemetery. She was snarky in the hallway. She's destroyed this thing.
Thumbs up.
There's reference that over the summer Hank couldn't really kind of get through to her. There's something going on. Doesn't know how to talk to her. So something's up.
Something is up. And after the training montage, we cut to Sunnydale's thriving warehouse district.
Love it.
Where we meet a vampire called Absalom, which he looks like a vampire. He's got his frilly shirt, his black and white. He's scary, and he's talking almost like a preacher, he's monologuing about a new hope will arrive. There's vampires around, little minion vampires that are like, yes.
It's like the villain trope where you've got to bring everyone together and you've got to over-explain your plan.
Right, your master plan.
And these master plans are really kind of like ad hoc.
You could just do it. Just do it.
Yeah. A little less talk, a bit more action.
A little less talk and a lot more action. Speaking of a little less talk, a little less Anointed One, because he's also in this scene.
The creepy kid is back.
He's going to be the new hope. Absalom says
Luke Skywalker is the new hope.
Nice. See what you did there.
Hashtag Star Wars.
Colin Yorgios is wearing a beloved fashion item of yours.
Stop.
A black turtleneck.
He is. He looks very fashionable.
And what is his hair? What did you call that? Corn cob? What is it called?
He's got the split part, which we used to reference as like the butter crust.
The butter
like the loaf of bread. Butter crust.
Why did I call it a corn cob?
Don't know, but
okay.
So
this is our
Welcome
fourth time
to
recording
the podcast with Ryan. Something.
Jen has left because she's lost her mind. Okay, so we have the Anointed One.
Jen's here, but she's not all there.
Who's going to be the new hope? The Anointed One is going to save these vampires somehow.
This fool literally got the master and everyone else destroyed. And I mean, how do these vampires put faith in this kid?
Because he's the Anointed One.
No, but he's not. The prophecy proved that wrong.
Did it?
Here's the tricky thing about prophecy.
Tricky thing. So we cut to Buffy in the student lounge. She seems distracted. Willow and Xander come up and they ask her what's wrong. And she says nothing. And Xander says, you can tell us. We're your bosom friends. Friends of your bosom.
Emphasis on...
I'm sick. I need help.
Emphasis on bosom. Thank you, Xander.
So gross.
You're sick and you need help.
And Buffy admits that she's been having some weird dreams. Giles walks in a panic saying, I think I know what the vampires are up to and blah, blah, blah. And he's all beside himself. And Buffy's like, hey, we'll handle it. We got this. Yeah. Then Giles says, I've killed you once. Shouldn't be too hard to do it again. And then he hits her, knocks her down. I've seen this episode so many times and it startles me every single time this happens.
Yeah. If you're going to watch the episode and you've not seen it before, this is kind of your trigger warning.
Correct.
There is violence and abuse.
Maybe we should add trigger warning to
physical
this at
violence.
some point. Yeah. And he's choking her. She's trying to get away. He looks so scary. And Willow and Xander are just sitting by, crunching.
Eating their snacks.
And then Buffy is like reaching up to try to get him off. She scratches his face and his face comes off and it's the master.
And then we know it's a dream.
It's a dream. She wakes up in her bed surrounded by her crocheted pillows.
Y'all.
I hate it.
Who's sleeping on a crocheted pillow? You're literally going to have marks on your face.
It's so uncomfortable. If you sleep on a crochet pillow, please write in and explain. Okay, so Buffy wakes up in her room with her pillows, but she's not alone.
No.
She's not. Who's there, Ryan?
There is an angel looking over her.
Quite literally.
Quite literally. It's the angel vampire. It's the
Here
vampire.
we
Quite literally.
go.
It's the vampire angel.
Yes. And he asks, how's she been? And she just says peachy. And we're like, well, that's a lie.
Okay. You woke up from a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
There's a vampire, someone who you know, who you've
kissed.
smooched with,
Yeah.
in your room standing over you, just watching you sleep. What's up? What's going on with that?
Edward Cullen.
There's not like a, hey, are you awake? Can I come in? Nothing. It's,
hey, men, women, folks out there, this ain't the way to do it. Give her a knock. Don't open the window and just kind of be waiting for her to be like, I know you're there or whatever. It's like, just, hey, may I come in? Cool.
It's creepy.
It's weird. So she's being very snarky. They haven't talked at all. We find out like they did not speak while she was in LA. And she'd asked him, is this a social call? It's kind of late for me, but what is it for you? Lunch hour? Buffy's not having it.
No.
And he says, no, it's not a social call. Because shocking, right? Angel showing up to drop some cryptic information, then fuck off again. Who'd have thunk it?
Interesting.
Yeah. And he tells her that the Anointed One has been gathering forces. That's where all these vampires are coming from. He says, don't underestimate the Anointed One just because he looks like a child. Okay.
Okay, sure.
And again, Buffy he stops and there's like a beat and she looks at him and says, oh, is that all? That is what we all want to say to Angel. Is that it? Is that it?
Is that all you got?
And she just looks, again, Angel is 200 something years old.
250 something years old.
He should know when a 16-year-old, which I hate even saying that like that, he should know when somebody is upset. He should, again, it's 1997. We're coming from a 2024 lens. Like, hey, how are you feeling? Not how are you? Are you okay?
Yeah.
How are you feeling? The fact that you died must have been tough, huh?
Uh-huh.
Let's start. No, he just kind of pouts, turns around. He does apologize. He said, I'm sorry, I'll leave. And he says, I missed you. And then hurls himself out the window because when Buffy turns to respond, she says, I missed you. He's gone. Yeah.
This Buffy Angel angst is some serious Jane Austen shit.
It 100% is.
It's like, will they, won't they? I don't know. Like,
well, I guess they've already kissed.
Communicate.
Oy.
How are you feeling? But, beyond that, the more we talk about this, the more I'm like, maybe he should have shown up a little earlier in the evening, knocked on the door, sat with Joyce, been like, hey, is Buffy, like, Buffy's back.
Oh, yeah. I'm the college age tutor.
I'll wait for her to get here.
Well, Joyce doesn't know about the Slayer stuff. She thinks Angel is a college age tutor. Right. So, yeah.
Which also annoys me.
Oh, boy. Well, we'll get there. Speaking of Joyce, next scene we cut, and it's Joyce and Buffy in the car going to school. This is not a super noteworthy scene, except Buffy's outfit. Okay. Just we noted it. She's wearing a pink camisole, hair's in a clip. She got her cool green sunglasses on. Joyce is trying to connect with her. She's like, hey, will you tell me what's wrong? And Buffy's just staring out the window.
She's got her sunglasses on, like her forehead pressed against the window, and she's just kind of like disassociating.
Yes. It's weird editing. It stands out so much because we cut from that scene to the hallway. She's wearing a whole new outfit at school. Hair is down, white tank top, pants.
It's noticeable.
And there's more green. Willow and Xander are both wearing green.
Yeah. Background actors are wearing green.
Yeah.
There are other green elements in the background.
Yeah. So
note.
It's Buffy, Willow, and Xander at Buffy's locker, and Willow's asking about Angel, and she asks if there was kissing, and Buffy snaps at her. She goes, Willow, grow up. Not everything is about kissing. We're getting the level of snark and mean is ramping up. Yeah. And Xander has to chime in. What does Xander say? Yeah, Willow, some of it is about groping. We got to press the button again.
Whoa.
I'm sick. I need help.
I'm sorry.
No,
it's not about groping.
Especially when you sexually assaulted your friend.
And never apologized.
Never apologized last year. You don't get to make jokes like that.
No.
And that's the part we mentioned at the beginning of the episode with Joss Whedon. The lack of consideration for what Xander did to Buffy. And to continue this, it's the toxic masculinity.
With no remorse, no apology, no acknowledgement of that it happened either in between them or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're all talking and they're asking Buffy, so what did Angel say? Like, how are we going to handle the vampires? And she's like, it's fine. It's nothing I can't handle. Mm-hmm. She's going into isolation mode. Yeah. I am the Slayer. I handle the business. You guys aren't. And Xander mentions that there's going to be a band at the Bronze and they should go.
A cool band.
Cool band. Chibo Mato.
Chibo Mato's playing.
Yep. And
they are a cool band.
They are a cool band. Our girl walks up, Cordelia, with a great...
I love every time she walks into like a scene, she's like either bubbly or just like takes precedent. Just how she is.
Well, she's the queen bee.
She is.
And she says, well, if it isn't the Three Musketeers. And they're like, is that an insult? Come on, Cordelia. The Three Musketeers were cool. That's what Willow says. She's like, the Three Musketeers were cool. Yeah. And they were cool.
Maybe she wasn't trying to insult them. Maybe she's just kind of like ribbing them a little bit. Hey, it's the Three Musketeers.
Which she kind of does say. She's like, yeah, you're right. I see your point. She's like, well, it's just, you guys are always together. Like, I think she was just trying to make a comparison.
That's it.
Yeah. And she's all excited. She's like, did you fight any demons this summer?
Cordelia's getting into this.
She is. And Willow says, yes, our personal demons. I think Xander says, yeah, like lust. And I cannot just shut the fuck up, Xander.
I'm sick. I need help.
Yeah. So I think Willow probably did work on some personal demons because she seems like the type of individual that works on herself.
So, anywho, Buffy looks at Willow when she makes that comment and she's like, I would have called us stooges instead of the Three Musketeers, basically. And I'm like, Buffy, girl, she's down bad.
Yeah.
And Cordelia starts talking about prom night and how scary it was. She's like, everybody was screaming, the vampires. And she says, you know, your secret is safe with me. I won't tell anybody that you're the Slayer. And Buffy, look, this was a sick burn. It's mean, but the timing on it. She goes, great. You won't tell anyone I'm the Slayer, and I won't tell anyone you're a moron.
Whoa.
And Xander's like, now that was a good insult. Yeah. Willow's caught on now, though, because she's like, that was too good.
That went a little too far.
And Cordelia's just like, what's up with her? Yeah. Cordelia's not phased. She's just like, why is she acting like as Willow says, a bitch?
Yeah. Well, you know, Cordelia was there on prom night. She was in the library. She literally saved Jenny Calendar and Willow's life.
Oh, that's right. She gets her car.
She got them in the car. She drove into the school. She got them to the library. I mean, if it weren't for her, Willow and Miss Calendar may not even be part of the series anymore. So, you know, a little bit of respect. You know, maybe she didn't die like you did, Buffy, but she was still
a part of
she was still a part of that trauma.
She was. And
she's here to talk about it. She feels like, hey, you know, they can share that experience together. And Buffy's just...
walls are up around Buff.
Yeah, what's going on?
So we cut to the Bronze and Chibo Mato is playing and what's the song that they're playing?
Sugar Water.
And the lead singer is wearing green. Green, 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 green. Willow is concerned about Buffy. She's got a little cup of Breyer's ice cream, what is the menu at the Bronze? We need a map of Sunnydale and we need a menu of the Bronze because we've got croissants. We've got muffins, coffee, beer and wine.
Or solo cups. We're assuming there's alcohol in there.
Yeah. And Breyer's ice cream cups.
I mean, doesn't sound too bad. No. Willow is eating her ice cream.
Yes. And she's concerned about Buffy. She's like, hey, something is up. Xander's not having it. He's like looking all towards the door. He's like, where's Buffy?
For Buffy? Yeah.
She said she was going to be here, but he's over her, right? Remember?
Mm-hmm.
He's over her. And Willow's trying to get his attention. She puts the ice cream. She like gets her little cup and does that. And there's ice cream on her nose. And she's like,
it is so sweet.
I know.
It is so innocent.
Yeah.
And it's also very sad.
So sad.
Because what does he say?
He says, oh, hey, you've got something on your face.
Looking past her.
Like, doesn't even see her. Yeah. And
you can tell immediately, like, she just like sulks.
Yeah.
Wipes her nose off.
So sad. And then we cut from them to the graveyard. Absalom and the Anointed One are directing their little vampire minions to dig up the master's bones.
I can't with these vampire folks.
Oh my God. And the one's vampire's hands are burning. He's like, it burns. The ground is consecrated. And the Anointed One's like,
Keep digging.
Keep digging. I want to drop kick that kid. I
The
really
kid,
do.
Yeah, the Anointed One's terrible.
Yeah.
Of note, though, is the new vampire of Absalom.
Absalom,
a person of color.
He is, yes. I like that you brought it up because it's good to point out this show is very white.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen few people of color.
And the ones that we do see don't last.
They don't last. And he's a great villain right off the bat. So he was portrayed by Brent Jennings. And I wish, no spoilers, but if you're listening to this, I'm sure you've seen the episode. If you haven't, props to you because that's bold. He doesn't last. He's going to get killed at the end of the episode, but he's really good. And it is very nice to see a person of color in a main role on the show. All right, now here we go. This is the iconic.
It's quite a scene.
Quite a scene from Buffy. Sorry, it's the iconic.
Buffy causes a scene.
Buffy does cause a scene.
Quite the scene.
I would say this is one of the most iconic scenes of the whole series. Buffy in this dress and this dance with Xander.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, and
Yes.
much of which you have to put it in context.
Yeah.
But I can say Sarah Michelle Gellar looks great in that dress.
It was made for her.
Made for her.
She walks in and just immediately record scratch. Everyone looks at her.
Everyone.
And one of those people is Angel. And Angel beelines. He's like, hey. And she doesn't even give him a moment before she just says, oh, is there danger at the bronze? Should I beware? She's not here to play.
No.
She's a woman on a mission. He's trying to ask. He's like, what did I do? What are you afraid of? Me? Us? And she stops him and says, there is no us. I've moved on. And basically says something like, did you expect me to moon over you all summer? Well, I didn't. Bye. And
leaves him speechless.
Speechless. Cordelia has seen this whole interaction. She's giving Buffy the eyes. And when Buffy walks up, Willow is like, hey, what's wrong with Angel? Buffy doesn't even respond. She tells Xander, let's dance. Dear God.
Xander's dream come true.
Oh, well. Oh, my God. It's weird to talk about this, and we've talked about it off mic. We've talked about it on mic 3 times prior. But these are teenagers, so I'm trying to be careful about how I dissect this scene because it's shot with very sensual lighting.
Yes.
The song Sugar Water is very sensual.
Yes.
The way Buffy moves is very sensual. It's supposed to be a sensual scene, but they're teenagers, and
right.
I don't want to get too far into that because it also was written and directed by Joss Whedon, and that's uncomfortable given what he has been accused of. Mm-hmm. So it's a good scene. It's
a great scene.
She's slinking all over him.
I can imagine if I'd watched this in 1997, I would have just been
jaw
on the floor, whoa, that was hot.
Yeah. And it is age appropriate because when you aren't processing your emotions well, she's trying to make Angel jealous.
She's acting out.
And
at the same time, she's hurting everyone around her.
Because she's hurt.
Yeah. But she's not thinking about, hey, I just teased my best friend in a sexual way in front of the girl who has a crush on him.
Who's my other best friend.
Who's my other best friend in front of the guy that I have a crush on and who I know has a crush on me.
So many layers.
And Miss Cordelia Chase is watching all of this transpire and just like, hey,
And so, they're having this dance. Buffy and Xander are still in this dance. And Buffy is whispering in his ear, Xander, did I ever thank you for saving my life?
And the way it's shot.
Yeah.
Watching her whisper in his ear like that.
As she's kind of moving around him still.
Oh, grinding on him.
Yeah. And he says,
turned around grinding.
Yes.
Grinding,
lots of grinding.
In that short black dress.
Whew. And he says no. And she gets so close to his ear and says, don't you wish I would? And then leaves him in the middle of the dance floor.
And that bro cannot move.
He's scuttle walking.
Anyone got a backpack?
Yeah. Can I borrow your muffin?
Wish I would have worn my big shirt today.
So she just grabs her jacket and heads out the door. She's gone.
And hot on her
here we
tail is Cordelia Chase.
But before we really get into this scene, I think it's time for our first vampire black box theater of season 2.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. On today's edition of Vampire Black Box Theater, the role of Cordelia Chase will be played by Ryan Something. The role of Buffy Summers will be played by me, Jen Katz. Scene. Buffy blows past Cordelia as she makes her way out of the bronze. Angel follows her with his stare. Sugar Water, performed by Chibo Mato, continues. Xander is still standing on the dance floor, teased, upset, and unsure how to react. Cut outside. Buffy exits the bronze and walks down the alley at a quick pace. Cordelia follows her out.
Buffy, you're really campaigning for Bitch of the Year, aren't you?
As defending champion, you nervous?
I can hold my own. You know, we were never really close, which is nice because I don't really like you that much. But you have on occasion saved the world and stuff. So I'm going to do you a favor.
And this great favor is...
I'm going to give you some advice. Get over it.
Excuse me?
Whatever is causing the Joan Collins-tude, deal with it. Embrace the pain, spank your inner moppet, whatever. But get over it. Because pretty soon, you're not even going to have the loser friends you've got now.
I think it's about time you started minding your own business.
It's long past.
Nighty-night.
I'll just see if Angel feels like dancing.
She is suddenly grabbed by 2 vampires coming out of the shadows and dragged into an adjacent building.
Wow.
Scene.
Love
the
this
fuck
scene.
does spank your inner moppet mean?
Spank your inner child. Like, you know, parent yourself. Like,
yeah.
You know, don't get over it. I mean, she's telling her like, hey, whatever's
you need
bothering
a process.
you.
You need to figure this shit out.
It's obvious. And Cordelia is actually coming from, believe it or not, a place of love. She doesn't have to intercede.
No.
She could let Buffy self-destruct.
Absolutely. Let her crash and burn.
But she's actually doing Buffy a favor. She's saying, hey, and maybe she didn't have the best tone in doing it, but Buffy didn't really seem like she's there to play. So Cordelia is like, I've had about enough of witnessing what I just witnessed in there.
Right.
She's like, whatever's bothering you, your snarkiness in the hallway, the way you just treated your friends.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. Like,
yeah,
you know, heal your inner child and get over it because pretty soon you're not even gonna have the friends that are there.
Right.
And she's true. I mean, Cordelia, many times throughout this series, is a voice of reason.
She lacks self-awareness.
She really does.
But she is the voice of reason for everybody else, for sure.
Sure. And I mean, hey, at many times, I think a lot of us will lack that sense of self-awareness, but we're quick to like give people advice.
Yeah.
And I think this is just, you know, good writing. I think it's a good character. She's a good character.
I would love to have Charisma Carpenter on the pod. You know, I know we mentioned Evan Ross Katz, but she's also my top manifestation. I think Charisma Carpenter, in addition to being an amazing actor and who really brought Cordelia Chase to life, she's an activist. She's a strong woman. I mean, she came out and shared her truth about her experience with Joss Whedon, alleged experience with Joss Whedon.
Which is very brave.
It's very brave. It's hard to do, especially in such a public forum.
So you confront your abuser.
Right.
It's very tough.
Yeah. And I love you, Charisma Carpenter. I think you're amazing. Would love to have you on the pod. Talk about your time as Cordelia.
Please come on the podcast or just send us an email and chat.
Love it. Before we move on to the next scene, I was wondering if it was time for a little fashion slay.
Oh, is this it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Fashion, slay, or nay?
Love it.
Love it. Okay. I think this is going to be an easy fashion slay.
I think we're both in agreement.
It's Buffy's dress.
It's the little black dress.
It's so good.
Smoking
and the hair styled right. Everything looks right.
No notes.
Absolutely no notes.
Looks great.
My nay for this week, it's really, we haven't gotten there yet. It's Buffy's pinned green sweater at the end of the episode. You know, it's like...
Yes, that's it.
I mean, I could try to do it with mine, but I don't know because I don't have it pinned.
It's not around the shoulders. It's around the right. And then
like right here and pinned.
And pinned.
Should I wear it like this the rest of the episode?
Please do. Yeah. It just doesn't look right. I think they were trying to go for that laxed kind of preppy look, but they just didn't really get there for some reason. It just doesn't. Yeah,
it doesn't work. That's my big nay. Like the moment she walks on screen at the end, I'm like, ugh, who did that? What's your nay?
It's the same nay. It's the Buffy cardigan that was not done well.
No.
Yeah.
That was an easy one. We didn't have to argue. We were in agreement. And that was fashion, slay or nay. Fashion, slay or nay. I feel like we're both slaying today.
Are we?
We've got green. Got a little Madewell green crop top.
Green and black. Oh, we're reverse.
Green. Yes. Oh, we didn't even plan that.
Go us. Hey.
Okay. So after Buffy and Cordelia's showdown in the bronze alleyway,
oof,
Buffy goes to the cemetery.
Buffy loves a good showdown in the bronze alleyway, by the way.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff happening there for sure. And she goes to the graveyard to where the master's bones are buried, and she sees that it's been dug up, and she immediately looks panicked. Go to the cafeteria. It's the next day. Mm-hmm. Willow is talking to Giles and Xander and saying Buffy is possessed. And like, well, what do you think she's possessed by? She's like, I don't know, something that does possessing.
Yeah, I mean, even after everything that they witnessed, as much as Xander probably really appreciated it, he knows that something's not right.
Yeah, because I think he says, wait, we can't operate under the assumption that she's like really attracted to me and wanted to dance. And they're all like,
no.
And he even admits, he's like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So I don't know why this really got me. Anthony Stewart Head as Giles pops open a top of soda and he takes a sip and he's like,
it's because it's not his hot tea.
It's not his hot tea.
Yeah, it's not his deal. Is Jenny Calendar in this scene?
She is not in this scene.
Okay, cool.
And Willow says, she says, but we got to figure out why Buffy's acting like a bitch.
Willow, so innocent.
I know. And Xander looks all confused and says, Bitka? I can't. Buffy walks up and she's like, hey, went by the grave last night. It's dug up.
Yeah.
What the fuck's going on? And Giles is like, well, maybe it's a revival ritual. And she's like, what the fuck do you mean? So there's a chance he can come back?
And you didn't tell me?
You didn't tell me. She is mad.
She's not a happy camper.
And,
to say the
least. And she's wearing the car outfit from when she was in the car with Joyce, the pink camisole, Claire's cross necklace, clip. And Willow starts to chime in and Buffy cuts her off and says, this is Slayer stuff. A little less from the civilians, please.
Whoa.
Yikes. And Xander has had enough. He's like, hey, wait a minute. But they get interrupted because Principal Snyder's like, hey, by the way, you guys have class and sir, you have a job. You need to get back to the library.
Yeah.
And they all disperse and Snyder says he smells trouble, expulsion, and a whiff of jail off Buffy.
Buffy needs to check her attitude.
It's now apparent.
Yeah.
She's not
like,
okay.
I can't be worried about you guys while I'm fighting.
That's right.
There's good communication, but her trauma response is just going to push those people away that are closest to her. And that's what Cordelia was trying to convey to her in the alley. And, Giles in his conversation before Buffy walks in they're trying to break down what's going on. And he's like, Buffy is suffering from what we like to call issues, which, we're recognizing now through a lens of 2024. This is PTSD.
1,000%.
She's traumatized and she's being triggered by things that are going on around her, but she's not dealing with her issues.
She's not processing.
And she's not processing her issues in a healthy way.
Nope. So they go to the library and they're researching the revival ritual, and Giles tells everybody that they need the master's bones and the blood of someone connected to him, which Buffy assumes is her because they were up close and personal. He bit her. And then before they can continue the research, a rock is thrown through the window.
Probably my second favorite part of this episode.
It's so funny. It's a note attached to a rock with Cordelia's tennis bracelet.
This is such an archaic way to communicate. Okay, the vampires are like, how do we get this message to them?
Yeah.
They're not really, I think, tuned into email, if that was even really a thing to communicate in 1997.
It was new. I mean, we had the episode.
Was around.
Yeah, we had Willow and Moloch last season.
Right. There was the chat rooms, but I don't anticipate they were waiting for someone to log into a chat room to communicate.
No.
They don't have text messages. Of course, they could have just called the school and been like, "Can you connect me with the library?" But they didn't. So they resort to doing what it seems like such an ancient practice of
so funny
tossing a rock through the window.
Yeah,
it's hysterical.
It's great. No, it is. It's so funny. And the note says, come to the bronze where we make her a meal. And they know it's Cordelia because it's Cordelia's bracelet. Okay. So Xander responds with, "Oh, they're going to make her dinner?"
I'm sorry.
So
it was a funny. It made me laugh. It's good timing.
It's great timing. You're exactly right. Buffy, they're like, "Okay, what are we going to do?" And Buffy says, I'm doing this alone. I can't look after you guys when I'm fighting.
Right.
And Willow's like, "Dude, what is your problem? This is a trap. This is obviously a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap." And Buffy says, "This is my fight." And she leaves by herself.
Whoa.
Yeah. She goes to the bronze, being followed by Edward Cullen, a.k.a. Angel. And she says, which I appreciate this line, being stalked isn't a big turn on for girls. But Angel says, "Why are you riding me?"
He wishes.
And she says, "I don't trust you. You're a vampire." Oh, is that offensive? Should I say undead American? Buffy she's on one. And she's taunting him into fighting her.
Yeah.
She's like, basically says, "Kick my ass." We've had her acting out pseudo-sexually with Xander.
Yeah.
Which is a way people act out when they're traumatized or trying to process.
Right.
And even feeling pain, like people who self-harm or engage in fighting, it's to release that energy.
Right. Yeah.
And he sees it and he basically says, "Don't you have somewhere to be? Stop with this bullshit right now. We're supposed to be saving your friend."
Right.
And they go in and look, we don't know this character yet, but in a few episodes when we meet this character, this is the Sheehan Drusilla. This is, the meme of what I expected and what I ordered. This is the poor man's Drusilla vampire who we're going to meet.
Okay. The gal that we see here.
Yeah, gotcha. Who's pretending to be Cordelia.
There. I was like, wait, what are we talking about? So they walk in and there is someone on the floor who appears to be Cordelia.
Which they immediately are like, "That's not Cordelia."
But you're suspicious. And so are they.
And they realize it is a trap, but not the trap they thought.
Yeah.
And
well, if this isn't
the
trap,
where are they going?
Where's the hook? What's going on? And then they realize, oh crap. And then cut to
the library. And Giles translates the ritual documentation again. And he's like, the person, how they complete the ritual is they need the person or persons who were with him when he died. But before they can get any further,
that's when
vamps.
I think Giles realizes as he's reading that the same thing that Buffy and Angel have realized at the same moment, which is, they're the bait, we're the hook.
Yes.
And there they are. There's vamps in the library.
There's vamps. And by the time Buffy gets in, because we kind of cut from the vamps closing in on them in the library, cut to Buffy coming in post vamps.
Yeah.
There's broken chairs. Library is a mess. There's just shit everywhere. Xander's still in there though, and he's got a bloody nose.
Yeah, and he's really not happy.
No, he says to Buffy, "I don't care what your issues are." And he tells her, "If they hurt Willow, I'll kill you." He's had it. And you pointed this out to me because when we first watched this, I was like, "That's extreme." You were like, "Hey, if somebody had, if you made a choice that left my children in danger, I would absolutely say, if my kids are hurt, I'll kill you."
Absolutely.
I would say that.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. And you can kind of see it wash over Buffy. Fuck. This is not good. And Buffy asked the question that I'm wondering, why did they take them and not you? Besides the fact that he's Joss Whedon's avatar. He was with Angel apparently when the master was dying.
That's right. They were up on the roof.
Or they were by the roof staircase so Buffy could get on the roof.
Right. They were guarding the staircase, which we've questions why didn't they run up the staircase and help Buffy? But whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
But also, why didn't they just eat Xander? Why would vampires... He's obviously bleeding, right? He's got a bloody nose.
He's been in a confrontation with them, but, they could have killed him, but maybe, and just hear me out, they left him so Buffy knew where they could find the rest of the crew.
That seems terrible to, and like
you got to leave someone behind that's like, hey, pass the message along.
Yeah, but
very
still
villain-esque.
But again, it's dumb because they could have
just killed him.
They could have killed him, and then they could have gone on with their plan, and Buffy wouldn't have caught them in time. Well, I guess she tortures the vampire.
No, they want her to come because they're all these folks are the bait, right? They're trying to resurrect the master so they can kill Buffy. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe you're right. Why would they want her to come?
Because they have everybody else.
They've got what they need to resurrect the master.
She ruins the plan.
She would ruin the plan. Oh, you're right.
Buffy goes back to the bronze. She's telling the female vampire, hey, where are they?
Talk.
She's like, I'm not supposed to tell.
She's like, okay, well, we have ways of getting around that.
Yeah, and she said, what are you going to do? Kill me? And
I'm already dead.
Buffy has flipped her onto the pool table at this point, and she says, as a matter of fact, yes. But, there's things we can do in the meantime.
Whoa.
Takes her silver cross necklace off, puts it in the vampire's mouth.
Shoves it in her mouth and covers it.
So it's burning her mouth from the inside.
She's basically like trying to waterboard. She's torturing her.
That's intense.
This is an intense episode. Buffy is bad.
Down bad. Crying at the gym. Fuck it if I can't have him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess all's fair in love
and poetry.
Tortured poets.
She's torturing. Listen.
There it is. Taylor Swift. We'd love to have you on the episode.
We'd love to have Taylor Swift on the podcast. Yeah. Swifties, make it happen. Do you think Taylor Swift watches Buffy? Think she's ever watched Buffy?
That's a good question. I hope so.
You think Taylor Swift is a Buffy fan?
I would take her to be a Buffy fan if she watched the show. I'm not convinced that she would have watched the show.
Write in. Let us know what you think. Yeah, let us know. Yeah. Okay. So the vampire has obviously told Buffy, sang like a canary, because we cut to the warehouse. We see the Anointed One, Colin Yorgios, is holding a little box.
What's in the box?
What's in the box? And then they show Willow, Jenny Calendar, and Giles and Cordelia hanging up by their feet on this conveyor belt.
A little gruesome.
It's very horror movie. Like this is scary. And Buffy and Angel and Xander come in and she's frozen. Like she sees the bones laid out on the table, which science class did they steal this skeleton from?
I don't know.
It's so bad.
It's pretty bad. But watching Giles, Willow, and Miss Calendar and Cordelia hanging from these meat hooks in this warehouse, it's very girl with the dragon tattoo basement scene.
Yeah.
Creepy.
So creepy.
And
they've got the master's bones on a table.
Yeah.
Buffy's frozen, and basically Angel or Xander, can't remember, is like, Buffy, like, hey, get your head in the game.
Snap to it.
She says, okay, you guys get everybody out. I'll distract the vampires. And then she basically says, I'm going to kill them all.
And
she does.
Buffy gets at it. She appears.
Stakes a vampire.
Out of nowhere. And she's like, hey guys, miss me?
Yeah. Bah.
I'm back.
And Absalom, who's in the middle of this ritual, he screams. Again, this actor's great.
Yeah.
And then it's fucking chaos. Buffy is kicking everybody's asses. Xander and Angel have freed everybody. Xander's helping them get out. And Giles kind of comes to and he looks at Xander. He's like, where's Buffy?
She's working out her issues. Literally just like
her issues.
Dusting vamps left and right. And again, they keep cutting to the bones on the table. It looks terrible. It looks like the Halloween decorations I put outside my house that I got from Target. It's like a crap skeleton. Right. And oh, by the way, this doesn't look like a set of bones that has been in the ground for like a year. Or these bones that were so, like, he was a vampire. They calcified so where they didn't even dust. I don't understand it. It's vampire lore that I'm not privy to. I bet it's probably they spent all the budget on the dusting, and prop department, they didn't have enough. This is the period of the episode where things move really fast and are sometimes questionable. Yes. Yeah. It's not as bad as season 1, but it's not yet. We're seeing the gotta wrap it up. Right. And we're out of money. Hurry up.
Absalom confronts Buffy and he tells her, I'll grind you into a sticky paste and hear you beg before I smash in your face. I'm like, whoa. And Buffy gives a little quip. Are you going to kill me or are we just making small talk? I'm like, okay.
Did you notice that when he's saying that or just before he says that, he pushes the creepy kid behind him?
No, I didn't.
So he stands in front of
He's
the chosen
protecting
one.
the chosen one. Okay.
It's like, if you want to get through him, you got to come through me.
Well, and Buffy pretty much ends it quickly. She picks up a torch that's got a sharp object on the other side of it. Sure.
Dunno.
And Absalom's coming from this side and random, vamps coming from this side. Buffy's in the middle and she like torches Absalom, stabs that vamp. It's done. Done. It's over. And Willow says it's over. And Xander tells her, no, it's not. Buffy picks up the big hammer that Absalom was holding. Sledgehammer. Starts smashing the 7th grade science teacher skeleton bones.
Yeah, and everyone's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And you can tell at this point, she's really letting it all out. She's finally grieving.
She starts crying.
And it's like, okay, cool. So the walls have come down. The tears are flowing, like all of these things. This is a very, believe it or not, bit of a healthy way for her to finally find some closure to this issue, which is like the master is done.
Well, and as they say in therapy, the only way out is through and letting yourself feel those feelings.
Yeah. And this is where she breaks.
And Angel holds her when she's done smashing and she's just crying. Yeah. So
a smashing good ending to an episode of Buffy.
Love it. And we go to the quad and Cordelia and Jenny Calendar. They both look like faculty members. Okay. Cordelia is styled like a teacher.
Well, and Miss Calendar is young enough to kind of, she could have played one of the characters in this.
She's the fun Burning Man teacher. She is. Yeah. And Cordelia cracks me up. She's talking about how traumatic it was and how none of the rust and blood and grime comes out of your clothes. And Miss Calendar's like, yeah, that's what I get worried about when I've been kidnapped by vampires with the intent to have my blood drained or whatever.
I love the priority differences.
I love it. And Buffy is talking to Giles and she's got her little stupid sweater.
Oh, anyway, yeah.
So
it's not right.
Buffy's talking to Giles and she says, like, I don't think I can face them. She feels really bad about how she's been acting and how she put everybody in danger. She needs to give herself grace because, again, she died and was very traumatized, but she did almost get everybody killed by her actions. And
what's Giles say? Giles
says, punishing yourself like this is pointless.
Yes.
I do like her response. She goes, it's entirely pointy.
Hey.
So Giles is just trying to encourage her gently that these are people who love you. You're forgiven.
Absolutely.
He's being Dad Giles. And I love it.
He is. And she needs to hear that.
She does.
So she's not going to therapy. So someone needs to tell her it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. Your behavior may not have been the best, but your friends and the people who love you understand. And they're forgiving, as you said. They're going to be here for you. Let's move on. Now that you've got that out, let's move forward.
Forward.
That's the best thing to do.
And they do. They go to the classroom and Buffy walks in. She looks a little nervous. There's only one empty seat and it's next to Willow. And she goes and sits down and Willow tells her, she's like, hey, we saved you a seat.
Yeah.
And they're joking. They're joking about one teacher who's always falling asleep. And
they're kids.
And Buffy kind of tentatively joins in. You can tell she's feeling nervous.
Sure.
And then they, I think Xander says to Willow and Buffy, should we go to the Bronze tonight? And Willow's like, it's kind of dead on a Tuesday.
Hey.
And Xander says, well, we could grind our enemies into talcum powder with a sledgehammer, but gosh, we did that last night. And everybody's like, and then Buffy smiles and they all start laughing. And
it's funny.
Cue the after school special music. The music right now is weird. It's like,
such a
that's
great
not
ending.
It at all. But
it's just like everything's peachy,
wrapped up,
and Sunnydale.
Let's go.
The master's dead,
He's
and
dead.
We can all kind of move forward with things.
That's where the episode should end, but it doesn't. We have to go back to the warehouse where Buffy annihilated all these vampires.
That's right. She left something behind.
She left an annoying kid in a turtleneck.
She didn't finish the job. And he just looks around and he goes, I hate that girl. Credits. All right. How did she miss Chosen?
Well, I think like you said, Absalom pushed him behind him, and I bet they had some kind of plan of, hey, you go hide.
But she's seen this kid before.
She knows him.
She
He
knows
led
he's the
her
chosen
to the
one.
master.
So, I mean, it's apparent, or would have been in my mind, had I been in this show, a character, that in order to stop this from reoccurring again, you got to take care of the chosen one.
You would think.
But then we wouldn't have another episode.
I know. So we're going to get more into the Anointed One in the spoiler zone. But yeah, I think this one to me, you can kind of hand wave a little bit because the chaos of the battle, and Buffy she's so been traumatized. She probably wasn't even registering that kid. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really make sense that they didn't like get rid of the kid.
You got one shot there.
Yeah. It. All right. So Ryan,
yes.
You know what I think it's time for?
Oh.
It's time for steak ratings.
Let's do it.
Oh, someone put a steak in me.
We're going to learn who that voice is in 2 episodes. And I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ryan.
Yes.
What's your steak rating for Buffy episode 1 of season 2, When She Was Bad?
I really like this episode.
It's a good one.
It's a great episode. It was written well, and character development is there. I think all of the characters have kind of come into their own. So it's a strong episode that effectively sets up the themes and the character arcs for the season, while also delivering like engaging storytelling, as I was saying, and character development. So the exploration of Buffy's trauma and its effects on her personal relationships, combined with the actions of all the supernatural elements that are going on, really makes for a compelling start to the season. One of the things that I loved most about this episode, which we briefly talked about throughout, was the use of the color green.
Yeah, very interesting.
I thought that it was deliberate and purposeful because it's everywhere. I mean, there's no way of getting around this being a deliberate choice to use green as a motif for the first episode.
Yeah.
Here. So it underscores the various theme and elements within the narrative. Employing the color green basically is symbolizing concepts such as jealousy and envy and a resurgence of past trauma. And Buffy's grappling with the emotional turmoil upon her return from her summer hiatus. The motif reflects Buffy's internal struggles and signifies growth, transformation, and it's really mirroring like Buffy's ongoing journey of self-discovery and evolution throughout not only last season, but continuing into the season and throughout the series. So by weaving the color green into the episode's visual designs, I think Whedon and his team are enriching the storytelling experience and engaging with us, the audience, on multiple levels, which totally enriches the entire thematic depth of this episode and I think the season's narrative.
Yeah.
Anyway, I loved it. I think it's a great way to dive deeper into a story without like having to tell it to you.
Right.
It's like you're just absorbing this and it's very subconscious, but chef's kiss. 4 out of 5. Maybe 4.5 out of 5. It's a great episode.
Yeah, it really is.
Sorry. Thanks for letting me go on.
No, I love that. I was just like, oh, everybody's wearing green. And I think there has to be a purpose to it. There's too much of it for it to be random.
It's intentional.
You know what? I think everyone looks good in green. No, there's got to be a purpose. And those themes are in the episode. So well done, you.
Thank you.
I'm giving it a 4.2.
Not a 4.3 or
nope,
4.1. Okay.
I love this episode. It's setting us up for what Buffy's going to be. A lot of people can't get past season 1. As I have stated, I don't rewatch season 1 as often as I watch the other seasons.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will watch Welcome to the Hellmouth and the Harvest and Angel and then Prophecy Girl. And then I'll go into season 2, 3, 4, and 5 and watch all of it. So I get it. In this episode, you can just tell they found their legs a bit. They've got more of a budget. The pacing is a lot better than it was in season 1. It's just setting us up for how good this show's going to be. I love it. I love that while they don't properly address Buffy's PTSD, I think for 1997, the fact that they're acknowledging that something is wrong with her is huge. They could have easily had her come back, be like, what's happening, Sunnydale? look out vampires, blah, blah, blah. It's like,
Yeah, they didn't have to get that deep.
No.
And they did. They went there.
They did. And showed that a 16-year-old would absolutely act out and lash out and hurt the people closest to her because she doesn't know how to process what's happened to her.
Yeah.
I love getting to see Cordelia she's getting more and more into the gang. Jenny and Giles are having their thing. We're just further building the team.
Yeah.
We're developing the characters. And I'm trying to be spoiler free, but we're really setting up a trajectory that's one of the greatest storylines in all of Buffy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 4.2 for me all day. I love it.
It's a deep episode. It's great. And
it is.
Again, love the use
I'm
of the color green.
so happy we're doing this.
Me too.
Okay. So want to make a special announcement.
Yes.
Before we send everybody out of here. Previously on our wrap-up episode, we had stated that we were not going to do every episode of Buffy. We were going to kind of do a best of each season. However,
fooled you.
I can't, guys. This is my favorite show. It's like asking me to pick between my children. I can't do it. I can't pick the best episodes. And now that we have Unhinged, where we can kind of talk about the other cool stuff that we're into, we're gonna do it. We're committing to doing every single episode of Buffy from here to season 7.
That's right.
Very exciting.
Buffy fans, tune in on Fridays for Once More Rewatch podcast. If you're not into Buffy or you've had about enough of it, then tune in on Wednesdays for Unhinged, where we'll talk about stuff unrelated to Buffy.
Exactly. Okay. We will have a brief spoiler section after our outro music. So if you have seen Buffy, stick around for that. I'm sure you know what we're going to talk about. If you haven't seen Buffy and you want to stick around, I love that. I love people going rogue with spoilers. Once More is produced by us, Jen Katz and Ryan Something, and our original cover art is by Dr. Courtney McKenzie.
If you like what you heard today, please be sure to follow, rate, and review us on your preferred streaming service and YouTube. Please stay up to date with us for latest episode drops, as well as more additional fun content. Please follow us on all of the socials. We are at Once More Podcast on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So thank you for tuning in to Once More. We'll see you next Friday for episode 2 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, season 2, Some Assembly Required.
Oof.
Be sure to check out our latest episode of Unhinged, released on Wednesdays, available on your favorite streaming service and YouTube.
And I'm Jen Katz.
And I'm Ryan Something.
And remember,
embrace the pain, spank your inner moppet, whatever, but get over it.
Bye.
Later.
Spoiler zone. Here we go.
Spoiler zone.
We're going to get the Anointed One's about to die. I can't wait. Spike's coming in. We have Some Assembly Required. And then we have School Hard, which is when Spike shows up. Yeah.
Not going there.
Oh, God. I'm so excited. He dispatches the Anointed One by hoisting him in a cage to get burned by the sunlight. And
someone had to do it.
Someone had to do it.
God bless him.
And,
God bless his damn soul.
God bless his damned soul. Which,
damn.
What does Angel say?
What's he say?
I'll be damned.
I'll be damned. That's right.
Speaking of Angel.
Yeah.
This is the season where Buffy and Angel will consummate their relationship.
Stop.
And Angel becomes Angelus. And boy, howdy. That's one of my favorite things that Buffy has ever done. I mean, storylines.
Okay.
Sorry, it's one of my favorite storylines. I'm not an Angel fan, but I love this. The high school is hell metaphor. And like, who amongst us hasn't slept with someone who turned out to be a monster the next day? And this is a literal monster. It's, it's relatable. And I can't wait to get to that. Then also, I just wanted to bring up Principal Snyder.
Not his vocation.
They're breadcrumbing us with Snyder to be like, what is his deal? Why does he hate Buffy? Why does he hate kids? Why is he a principal?
He, as Giles points out in this episode, it's like, oh, are you sure like education or teaching was like your vocation? Because it really doesn't seem that way. And we're getting ready to find out that it probably wasn't his vocation, that he's there for another purpose.
He's working for the mayor, as we'll find out.
Yes.
And he knows that Buffy is the Slayer. Maybe not right this second, but he's going to find out. He knows about the supernatural stuff. We find out in School Hard when Spike and the vampires attacked on St. Vitus Day. He's on the phone and he's like, Yeah, he's like, just let's cover it up. Same thing.
Yeah.
Motorcycle gangs on PCP.
Schneider is a cog in a bigger wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Second time I've referenced that this week.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to find out what that is.
I'm excited. I'm ready for season 2.
Me too. Welcome back.
Welcome
and
back.